Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Day One Energy, the podcast for entrepreneurs. Today we have an amazing guest on, and I am beyond excited for this one. We have Aaron Hukin, the owner of Attentive Auto Detailing, Redland's #1 detailing business. Aaron, it's a pleasure to have you here. Why don't you start off and introduce yourself, who you are and what you do?
Yeah, first of all, thanks Jordan and Lockie for having me on. It's awesome what you guys are doing here. So yeah, as Lockie said, I started Attentive Auto Detailing. I started that straight out of high school. So I kind of decided, well, what did I want to do with my career? And I decided, look, I know I want to start a business. What can I do? Throughout high school, I worked at a car wash and I thought, okay, well, I know how to wash cars. I want to start a business. So it kind of just led me to starting my own car detailing business. And I've been running that for 2 years now.
And how far it's come is insane.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I've known you for a year and a half now. Obviously, you and Lockie have been mates for quite a while, growing up together, that sort of thing. But even in just the last year and a half, just to see the progress, I mean, you know, you've got the van now, and you've got so much going on. Clients, Ferraris, Porsches, dude, AMGs is crazy.
Thousands of Instagram followers.
Yeah,
we've got a million questions for you.
Yeah, isn't it like 7,500 or something?
Nine? Isn't it 9,500 Instagram followers?
We're at 9,000 at the moment.
Well, why don't we can we jump into that straight away? Because you
tag Day One Energy in your face, please.
Yes, please. collab. Can we talk about that to begin with? You had 300 followers for a decent period of time, and you said enough's enough, and in the period of like a month grew to 9,000 followers. How did you do that?
Yeah, so I had a kind of just a mental thought one time, and I just said, look, I really want to start pushing social media and start building this brand. So I sat down for 30 days straight, and for 30 days straight, I uploaded one Instagram reel and TikTok per day. So within that month, there was 30 reels, and there was a few things that I focused on. I always, when it comes to my content, there's 3 things I want to focus on. I either want to influence, I want to inspire, or I want to motivate, but you can also entertain. So really, when it comes to social media for me, I think about other humans. At the end of the day, everyone's selfish. When you're scrolling through social media, you're watching things that fulfill you, that educate you, or they entertain you and make you feel some sort of emotion. So I always tried to provide value or some sort of entertainment for my viewers, and I did have a couple reels that hit over 10 million views, so that definitely helps. That's for sure.
That's a big part of it too. I was always taught educate, don't speculate.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think when you're doing that in your videos, which is obviously what you do, you've got a couple of pages. Both attracting different audiences. One's your business page, obviously, which attracts those who likes the car detailing, and the other one's the other business page, where you attract car detailers and that sort of thing that are wanting to get into the business. And obviously that sort of thing is quite inspiring. Trying to get out there, do videos that are inspiring others to get into the business. I love it. I think it's cool.
I love it too. I think it's amazing. Well, why don't we jump back to day one? We usually lead with this question. We went on a tangent there, but no hurts in doing that. So let's dive back to day one. You said you left school and you dived straight into the business. Let's go back to then. Talk us through where you started and where you are now, and how you maintain that day one energy the entire time.
Yeah, okay. So for me, starting off with, I had about $500 worth of equipment, so it really wasn't that much, and it was just a simple process of just, I went on to Facebook, I said, hey guys, look, I've started a car detailing business. If any of my neighbours want to wash, feel free to reach out. And I started off super cheap, which we can kind of get into in the near future if we want to talk about that, but I really underpriced my services. But moving on from that, so I kind of started at washing cars for $35, and slowly over time I've built just a clientele. I've had over now close to 2,000 appointments booked with me. So I've just built that clientele over time, and I've slowly raised my pricing. So now I've gone from about $35 to now you're looking at over $100 for every single service. So I've built that clientele, but I've really focused on the quality of work, and then through raising my prices, building my brand, and just kind of making sure I'm always reinvesting into the business and watching it grow. That's when your nicer cars kind of come, and it's just patience. I really have just put my head down for the last 2 years. Haven't really focused on what other people are doing. I've just focused on what I'm going to do and what's best for me and the business. And yeah, 2 years later now, I've got a part-time employee. I've just bought my first van, which I should have bought sooner. And yeah, a few things coming along on the way at the moment.
So where's your motivation actually lie?
My motivation, really, if you break it down, when I was growing up, my parents haven't had a lot. So I've always kind of watched from afar and seen them struggle with money. And from that, I have this feeling where I want to be able to provide for my family when I'm older. I don't want to see my family or even my mum at the moment, before she retires, I want to be able to retire her and look after her. So that's really my biggest motivator. But then also just, I think inside of me, I just want to be a provider. So with my future girlfriend and my kids, I want to be able to give them the life they deserve.
Yeah.
Future girlfriend?
Future wife of my current girlfriend.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. It's interesting to hear everyone else's reasons why they do something, because I think every single guest has a different reason, and it shows that people do things for different reasons, and that everyone's drive comes from a different place. And I definitely think that is a super powerful thing.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely agree. That's the in-depth version, but at the end of the day as well, I want my Lambo on my driveway. I want my nice house. Those things do help, that's for sure.
Oh, dude, how often do we talk about that?
Too much.
So I want to go into, you mentioned before, like you started out, quite cheap.
Yeah.
Charging lower prices. I've had all sorts of different perspectives on this. Like there's a lot of people getting in, like for myself getting into real estate, a lot of people said you need to start off cheaper to get the clients. You might need to do this, you might do that. Other people have said you need to go more expensive, blah, blah, blah. We've had Emily on the podcast from Raw Body, who said one of the mistakes she did was she actually started out cheap, and she should have started off what she thought she was worth, because it was harder to increase the price over time. I mean, what's your perspective on that?
Really, the way I look at it is when you are starting out, of course, you've got less experience, you've got less clientele, and you do kind of need to start a little bit lower. It just depends how low. So I was at the point where I was charging about half of what my competition was charging, and that was a bit ridiculous. I'm almost cutting my profits and all my margins in half. So look, if I was to do it again, I'd charge 85%. And then all I have to do is just do a small increment once I have built up that clientele, and now I'm at where I need to be. Yeah. Rather than going from 50% to 60 to 70 to 80 to 90 and just taking that long time. So yeah, I definitely think start a little bit below, and that's fine, but still stay close to where you are, because the reason they price that is because that's where that service is kind of valued at.
Right, there you go. Yeah. No, I do like that point of view. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's just all about building credibility.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can prove that that's what you're worth in the beginning, sweet, go for it, I think. If you feel like you need to build up a little bit more credibility, you need to build up a little more confidence, maybe start a little bit lower. That's my point of view on it anyway. Yeah,
100%. I think it aligns with your confidence as well. At the end of the day, a lot of people, when they're starting, especially for us, because we're so young, I feel, when us boys we go into our next business, we might say, hey, let's start with the right pricing this time. But I think when you're younger, it's kind of that just inner thought of, hey, I'm not that confident, I've never run a business before. That's why you start at a lower rate.
Absolutely. And either way, and this is my perspective on it, it's a win-win. Because if you're in business for the long run and you're so motivated, you know you're going to stick to this, your prices are going to be where they're going to be eventually. And at that start, you just did a little bit more hard learning, your income was a little bit lower, but we're all so motivated and so, excited to do what we do, and we're in it for the long run, that either way our prices are going to be there, are going to get up to there. So I like it like that too. So I think this also feeds into the next question, is you started straight out of school. right out of high school. And doing that is not a normal thing. Just to go, I'm going straight into it. Not everyone does that. Was that hard? Was there difficulties in doing that? What did the people around you think and say? Like, was that a really difficult part in starting out?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was super difficult. I'll even give you a moment here. I remember I was telling my grandma about what I wanted to do when I left school, and she turned around and said, well, you can't make a living washing cars. And my mum kind of just said, oh, don't listen to her. But I kind of said, oh, look, she can say what she wants, but I'll prove her wrong, to be honest. That's how it came. But as you know, there were so many thoughts. Everyone else is going to uni or doing a trade, and you've got no real idea what you're doing yet. But for me, it was, if I wasn't going to start a business, I was going to go to uni. And I was going to do a Bachelor of Business. And when I was at school during year 11, I did a Diploma of Business, which is kind of below the Bachelor. And from there, in the Diploma, I'm going to be honest, I learnt nothing to do with actual running a business. Yeah. From that, I finished that course and I went, that didn't help me much running an actual business. So I thought to myself, is going to uni and doing a Bachelor, what's that actually going to teach me? So I thought, look, last case scenario, I can go to uni, but let's just try, give it a shot and see what we actually learn if I just go out on my own starting away.
Yeah. Uni wasn't even a thought for me. I knew, like, pretty much from the day I started high school, I was not going to uni when I finished. It was not a choice. And that was just, I'm not good in a classroom. I'm much better when I'm out learning hands-on, doing it myself. And I think that's where a lot of business owners, I think that's where they realise, well, I actually probably should try and do this myself.
Yeah, no, you're right. Definitely. The last thing I wanted to do once I finished school was go back and say, oh, hey guys, oh look, we've graduated, no more assignments. Let's go do another 4 years of assignments. That's just something I didn't want to do, that's for sure.
Yeah. And we agree on that. But our last guest, Nathan, said, I went and got a qualification in lawn care or whatever it was. And he was like, it gave me so much knowledge and it helped me out so much jumping into this business that, it's actually interesting to see that our perspectives are so different to some other people, but university can also be beneficial for certain things.
I think from Nathan's perspective too, I mean, he was able to transition with an income straight away.
Yeah.
The three of us, we started with zero money coming in.
Nothing. Speaking of money, and obviously this is more of a private question, but what's the figure value of where your business is at per month at 19 now?
So at the moment we're turning, I'll just give you the broad, we're turning over 5 figures. So you're looking at about $13,000 a month at the moment. It's kind of the rough range we'll sit between.
So let me get this right. You're 2 years into business, 19, and you're earning what a fully qualified, say, engineer, marketer would be earning.
I wish, but yeah, we're going to be close to that rate. And look, honestly, the growth is the goal is growth. At the end of the day, 6 months ago I was earning half of that. Now I'm earning double. And I don't think that's awesome. I want to earn double in another 6 months. So there's still a lot of goals ahead, and I want to build on the team and really push.
Straight away, as soon as you said that, then I saw a video, a reel, on Instagram this morning, and it said, an entrepreneur, a business owner, is never going to be satisfied. They're going to be, where they are now, they're going to want double that in a couple of years. And then again, they're going to get to the next spot and they're going to want more again. Yeah. And keep going. They're never going to be satisfied.
Yeah. You just continue to push and push and push yourself. It's a blessing. It's a curse and a blessing, right? And speaking of day one energy, like what we do this for is figuring out how you've maintained that day one energy. How have you done it? 2 years now, washing cars, filling up the same bucket every day.
It's hard. There had to be days where you woke up and went,
is
why am I doing this?
35 degrees, piercing sun, you're out there on your when you initially started, lower prices, you're doing stuff for $50. Like, how have you maintained the day one energy to get where you are now?
Yeah, honestly, it is. It's dreadful, especially on those 35-degree days in the sun. You're in the car, which turns it into 45 degrees, and you're just sweating all over the interior. Yeah, it definitely is hard, and there is days I've woken up and I go, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be here. But for me, I think it's the bigger picture. Linking back to what we spoke about before about being able to provide for my family, and the bigger picture for me soon is to get to the point where I'm not doing the car cleans anymore. I want to get to the point where I have a team that manages the car cleans, and then I oversee the operations. So I think that me currently doing the cleans, I just know it's one step closer to the point where I'm no longer doing them. But I also think it's, at the moment, it's good for me to be doing them because the fact that I've done the hard yards myself and I've really pushed myself doing the labour work, now when I have employees, I kind of can relate to how they're feeling and be able to look after them better and create a better culture for the team.
That's interesting. Have you thought much about like when you start bringing people on quality control?
Yeah, it's definitely the one of the things that's hard when it comes to detailing because everyone comes to you. It's like your barber.
Yeah.
You know, you go to your barber because
you don't want to micromanage either. Like you don't want to be standing over their shoulder going, okay, well, you missed that bit there. Yeah. You could probably do that better.
Yeah. So that's one of the biggest things I've struggled with my detailing business is slowly letting go. But I think that's just something I need to learn over time and kind of just slowly put trust into people, slowly give them more responsibilities, and I'll kind of, once I start trusting people, I think I'll slowly just let back on that eventually, yeah.
How do you build that trust?
Build that trust, I think, is just over time. I think when especially when it's detailing, you're so close with each other all the time. You know, you're not in two separate offices. You're cleaning the cars, you're working together all day, every day. I think over time, you just slowly build that trust. With them, you get to know them as a person and if they're genuine, and yeah.
Yeah, nice, cool. I like it. There's definitely a lot of good insight right there.
So much.
You know, different to the last episode where Nathan said, well, he wants to be there for quality control to make sure that everything's done right.
He was happy just doing him.
Yeah.
He didn't really want to grow a team, yeah. But you're on the other hand. And what's your plan around crafting that team? So you work under the retainer model, so you service the same vehicles month in, month out. What is your plan around structuring someone around that and trying to hire someone? Because that obviously is a very difficult step to hire someone full time.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the moment, we've got about 55 clients that we do on a regular basis. My first kind of goal is, because those are the basic jobs that they're frequent and you can train them to be done easy. That's my first thing I want to delegate out, and I want to hire someone. So once the first van's built out, I want to hire someone, work with them for 6 months or so, make sure they are the right fit just for doing the basic job. And then once they're on their own and they do their monthly clients, they can start building the relationships that I've built with my same clients and get to know them on month to month. Once the basic maintenance is handled, I can look at doing the bigger jobs myself and getting someone to help me with that. And then, yeah, that's kind of the process so far. But I want to build, if you're asking for a vision as well for the future, I want to have 2 vans, and eventually in the next couple of years, I want to have a shop opened up.
Yeah, wow.
Big goals.
Huge
Big goals.
That's it. You need them.
Goals, not dreams, right? We have goals, not dreams. I think this is interesting, but is your end goal detailing in a shop, or do you have plans for greater things than just that?
Honestly, I do say it a lot. When I started a business, I always say to people, you can tell if a detailing business is going to be successful if they like cleaning cars or did they like business. Because a lot of the times, the people that like business are going to be the ones that push to grow, where the ones that are just like the cars, they're just going to clean the cars themselves, which is obviously fine. But if you're wanting to scale your business and, you know, do 7 figures a year, then you need a team with you. So yeah, for me, detailing, I've slowly built it into a passion, but at the end of the day, it's not something that I really care to stick with for the rest of my life. If I exit out of the business and sell the business in 5 years' time and move into something else, then I'm happy to do that. I'm not too sure what industry that's going to be or anything like that, but just really just staying in the sector of business and running businesses and operating businesses. That's where my passion is.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back a little bit. You mentioned before you could take on the bigger jobs. I want to go through the services you offer. Bigger jobs being obviously ceramic coats. What exactly does Attentive Detailing offer?
Yeah, so at the moment it's car detailing and auto care. So it's everything from your ceramic coatings, as Jordan mentions, which is your paint protection, your semi-permanent paint protection. We go all the way down in your interior deep cleaning, exterior polishing, all the way down to your maintenance on. If you've got a nice car and you want to keep it clean every month, we'll come see you every month. And we're also mobile, so you don't have to leave your home. At the moment, that's what we're offering, but we'll soon be getting into things like window tinting, and eventually once we have the shop, I want to get into wrapping and things like that.
Dude, I just watched you do that the whole time. Like, you practiced that. You practiced that. It was straight at the camera.
He's waiting.
So here at Attentive Detailing, we offer.
He's waiting for that moment where he steps into an elevator with like a multi-billionaire and goes, I've got a pitch for you, mate. This is what I want to do.
And that's the thing. I say this a lot about my business is when I'm on my own, I have so much time to think. Every day when I'm cleaning a car, I'm thinking about myself. So all the things you asked me about my business plan, what I want to do in the future, what we're doing now, I have drilled that through my head 100 times. How am I going to do it? What's the next steps? I have the next 30 steps of my business lined out for the next 5 years. And as Lockie said before, it's goals, not dreams,
Steps to work ahead. Wow, that's powerful. That's really powerful. And I think it's a testament to younger people. And we've had people from all ages on the podcast recently. Like, it's been pretty cool in the broad spectrum of people we've had. But to also show that you can start a business straight out of high school, straight at 17, like the three of us, and you can get a few years down the line. And if you put your mind and you hard work to it, that you can reach your goals. And if you consistently just work hard, you'll get there. And I really do think that's a testament to it. And what would you say to someone leaving school that wants to start a business? What's a piece of advice that you would shoot that way?
Honestly, so you want to start a business and you're leaving school, it's just do it. It's cliche, but it's the only way to learn, is kind of the way I would put it. Is there's so many negative thoughts, there's so many people telling you to do something else, do a trade, go to uni, you should start this business instead, you should do this instead. Just go with your gut and just do it. It's uncertain, but you're not going to regret it if you do what's deep down inside of you and what you think's best for you. You're not going to regret it in the future, yeah.
There you go. Family's obviously super important to you. I think we've established that. You've got a partner as well.
Yep.
One thing I always love to hear about is balance. All right, we've said it before. It was the original plan for the podcast. Do you have balance with your family life and your work life? And if so, how the fuck do you work that out? How do you balance it?
We're all ears.
Yeah, look, I'm probably the worst person to ask that question.
Yeah.
I don't think I have much balance at all. I'm probably doing 50, 60-hour work weeks. And then when I am at home, I'm always thinking about the business. So it's hard for me to be present. For me, having balance, I could even tell you last week, I sat down, because I know this is a problem for me. I don't. Even my good friends, like going out for dinner and that, I miss that a lot. So I've actually sat down on my computer where I have my weekly task and written a list of people I need to catch up with, because I just forget to do it all the time. I'm so busy, and then I'm like, I haven't even seen my best mate for 2 months now. So that's a problem for me. But just with balance, I think I kind of just take it as it comes. So when I have a free day available, it is hard because I want to rest. I want to rest on my free day. I've only got, sometimes I work 6 days a week, so I've only got the one day I want to lay in bed. But I've got to go out and I've got to do something. I've got to be with the family, because at the end of the day, put the money aside, your family's more important than them.
Yeah, okay. And obviously on that, it doesn't sound like you get a lot of rest. How do you, I suppose I was going to say, how do you not burn out? But I'm just going to completely erase that question. How many times have you burnt out?
Too many, that's for sure. I never feel a point of burnt out, but I feel a lack of motivation. That's kind of what I feel. When I think I'm burnt out, I think I'm so, empty at the moment with emotion, and I've got no motivation to go out and do this anymore, and that dies down to me being burnt out. And that's just purely because, you know, when you're doing something for so long, you're in 40-degree heat. You just don't want to be there no matter how much money you're getting or no matter anything really. But the one thing I always try to do, no matter what, is 8 hours of sleep every night.
Yeah.
No, I hear a lot of people talk about how they only have 3 hours of sleep every night, or they're grinding so hard on their business, they get 4 hours, 5 hours of sleep a night, and they drink 10 coffees a day. But I just think, for me, that's the one thing. 8 hours of sleep every night. No matter what, it's always 8 hours of sleep. As soon as that, I always set my alarm, and 8 hours before, I'm in bed. And that's kind of the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, I'm 7 hours. If I don't get my 7 hours, I mean, it is what it is, but I need to get my 7 hours. So, I mean, when you get to that point of burnout, do you just say, fuck it, I just need to keep going?
Yeah.
Or do you actually take a break?
I look at taking breaks. I do look at it.
Oh, this is how much it costs to go to Fiji at the moment.
That would be nice. Holiday done.
Yeah, I'll see you back in Europe for 3 months. Yeah. For me,
I know someone who did that.
Yeah, for me, unfortunately, because I've got my monthly clients, when I feel burnt out, I can't just take the next day off.
Yeah.
I've got to fulfill those clients. I'm booked out 6 weeks at the moment. So if I want to book a holiday, I've got to do it 6 weeks in advance.
Wow.
So for me, it's push through it. The way I set it is I have 3 little holidays a year. So I have over Christmas, and the start of the year, I'll have a little holiday. That's my biggest one. It'll be about 2 weeks. In the middle of the year, I'll have, so like this year, I went to Italy for 4 nights. And then at the end of this year, I'm going to go over to New Zealand again for 10 nights. So I try to have 3 holidays per year just to kind of give me that little bit of a break, and you need something to look forward to.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a really good one. Recently, you pushed yourself mentally and physically in something that wasn't business. Do you want to talk about what that was and a little bit about how you've pushed yourself to do something that you wanted to always do, but not in the business world?
Yeah, so that was my first Muay Thai exhibition fight. A lot of people ask me after the fight and say, "Oh, are you ready to go again? Like, when's your next fight?" And I say, I'm not doing another one. Because the thing is, for me, is I wasn't there to fight. I didn't want to fight. I don't like fighting. But the thing for me is I started Muay Thai about 1.5 years ago. And I just learnt for self-defense, but I know that I've got to push myself to be better. The thing is with the new generation is there's, you know, back in the old days, there was a lot of things that men had to go through a lot of pain and they had to go through a lot of suffering, and that's how they built character. These days, all the kids are just on the iPads. There's no real pain and suffering. So I find that putting yourself through struggle and pain and really pushing yourself mentally is where you grow. So I knew, look, one of the hardest things you can do is jump into a boxing ring with a guy that wants to hurt you. So that's kind of what I put my mind to. And it's even not even the fight. It's the 8-week camp where you're running 10 kilometers a day. You just don't want to be there, but it's the mental push. So yeah, for that, the reason why I did it was to just grow and also prove to myself, you know, if I put my mind to something, I can do it. And I did that about 3 weeks ago, and happy days for me. Now that's something that I can tick off my list, and that was one of the goals for the year that's now crossed off. Yeah,
that's cool. Are you going to continue your training?
I am continuing it, but I've backed off a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm now from 5 days a week I'm on to 2, and purely because during that camp of 5 days a week, I had no time for my business.
Yeah.
I was getting home at 5:30 and leaving for training at 6. And then you got to eat a bit of food, go to training, get home at 10. I need my 8 hours, so I'm asleep. Yeah. So for me, it's I'm taking a bit of time off now, and I'm focusing on business.
Yeah. Like, so on that, like, do you go to the gym? Is there anything, like any specific routine that you need to do before or after work to like switch off or switch on, or like, or is training just your Muay Thai training? Is that just your thing?
I think mornings work best for me. Honestly, that's one of my biggest struggles is getting up out of bed.
Yeah.
Honestly, you can have all the motivation throughout the day, but when you wake up in the morning, there's no motivation. You just want to stay in bed. So biggest thing for me, I train in the afternoons just because that's the times that the gym allocates for me to train. So I train in the afternoons. But the morning, I feel if you can get up and do something in the morning, you're going to have a good day. I know you both go to the gym in the morning, and even I've started getting up. And even though I'm not training in the morning, I'll do a bit of breath work, or I'll even just go sit in the sun for 5 minutes. It takes nothing out of my day to do it, but I feel like I've actually accomplished something, rather than just laying in bed and then all of a sudden the alarm goes off. Oh crap, I've got to go to work. Get ready, bang, I'm out the door. Yep. You know, doing something, actually being a little bit productive, that's what kind of starts your day, yeah.
I like that.
Me too.
Simple.
Very simple. Just the little things that can
Yeah,
help,
because
right? Making you better than
everyone talks about going to the gym, right? And that's kind of the main thing, but it's like the reason the gym's so good is, yes, you're working on yourself and it's physical, but it's also you just ticking something. You feel productive.
Yeah.
And
Done.
no one else talks about, well, what else can you do to feel that way? Is it journaling? Is it, meditation and things like
Morning
that?
coffee, whatever it is. How have you, so you haven't been to uni, you've done a diploma. How have you sourced a lot of the educational side of things in business? Where have you found it, on the internet or reading books, or where's been your main source of, push and drive and information to learn to do what you do and also run the business side of things?
Yeah, so for me, none of my parents ran businesses, or no one I really know has a successful business. So there's no one I could really lean on for information. And throughout school, I also just never read books. I hate reading books. So every time I always see online that this book's a good recommendation, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll read that. And I get 10 pages in and I never see that book again for 6 months. I've got Rich Dad, Poor Dad still in my room. I've read 100 pages and it's taken me 4 years, and I haven't touched the book in another 2 years. So reading for me is just hard. I should get better at it, but the way I've sourced my information is social media, believe it or not. But a lot of people use social media for the dopamine hit, but I find if you kind of work your algorithm and make it come up with the educational content, so unfollow all the people that are just giving you bad entertaining content, and follow a bunch of people that are giving you content about car detailing, about business.
Educational content.
Yeah. So now when I scroll through my TikTok and my Instagram, it's all actually just educational content that's providing me value, because there is so much value out there. You jump on the YouTube and you search up how to start a business, hundreds of videos, and also podcasts. So I'll find my favorite influencers. I'd find them on Instagram, and then I'll go watch their podcasts and listen to them for a long time. But there's not many people I look at when it comes to car detailing. It's business, and I find that a lot of businesses are similar. They have the same kind of phases, and you just follow through with that. Yeah.
Well, talking about searching things up online and finding educational content, have you got something in the works on passing on some educational content? If you're allowed to talk about it?
Yeah, of course. So another thing that I'm currently looking at doing is starting an online course for how to start a detailing business, because I really am passionate about young people. It's such a low risk business to start, and if you want to start, it's such a good business model. But also for me, it's that next step to earning money online. That's always one of the things that everyone talks about. They want to earn money online, but it's just another way for me to earn money, to be able to teach and provide value to other people, and just it becomes another source of income for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's powerful. That's good.
So cool. It's definitely something that we've spoken about before.
Yeah.
And there's so many people doing it now too. So many people. That'd probably be like, with that, do they just buy the course, or is it like a subscription? Or?
Yeah, so it's an upfront cost at the moment, and it's just once you buy it, you get unlimited access. But you can also do things like mentorships and online coaching and things like that. Yeah.
And is it just like a set and forget sort of thing? Or
And that's
every week,
that's the thing of it, is they buy it and that's it. So that's the reason I've gone ahead with this kind of model, is I've created all the content, you buy it, and I'm done. Obviously, I'll still be there to help you and get you through the lessons, but there's kind of
passive income.
Yeah, exactly. You talk about the passive income, but I've spent 20, 30, 40 hours making it, but now it's done. So I don't have to sit there and manage it every week. It's slowly earning money, and all I've really got to do is market it.
Have you looked into that? Like, obviously, 30, 40 hours. Have you looked into how much that has cost you and how much you've got to make it worthwhile, or have you considered any of that?
I have, but then for me, it's also just let's give it a go.
Yeah.
I don't really care if I don't make any money on it. It's, hey, this is something I've always wanted to do. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does, it does. Awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but as you're saying, everyone at the moment is online.
Yeah.
And Luke Belmar says, where attention goes, money flows. And I think he's right when it comes to that. A lot of things are going online at the moment. There's a couple people I follow at the moment online, and they teach crypto and all that, and they have a mentorship that's $10,000 for 6 months of weekly group calls.
Wow.
And I think that's insane. But that's just because the value they provide. And yeah, that's where it is. That's the point we're at where it comes to the digital age.
I like that.
Me too. Well, I'm excited to see when it launches, and we'll do hope that it goes well. But
Yeah, thank you.
again, I think it's amazing that, you know, if us as individuals and young people can create opportunity for other young people, then it's a win-win. It's helping that next generation come up, because when we started, we had no idea what to do. And if we can provide a little bit of information here and there just to the younger generations coming through, go, hey, this is how we did it. We're going to help you do it. And I think that's a very powerful thing in itself.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at doing businesses like drop shipping and all that, which is digital products, and they need a lot of investment.
That was really cool for about 12 months, like 6 years ago.
Yeah. It's still going now, but it's a little bit more died off. But I find for a young person, the best thing you can do is service-based business. So as Lockie does, he does a media company, or you're providing a customer experience, helping them sell their house. A service business, I find, if you're young, that's the best kind of business to start, because it requires little investment, and it's about you just providing a service to the client.
Time, right?
You're trading your time.
Yeah. On a personal note, and this really feeds into what you're just saying, and I'd like to say is that my tagline for my business was "Be different, stand out," and I literally lived by that for a year and a half. And 6 months ago, I had a switch, and it was, I don't want to be different. I want to create difference. I want to create opportunity. I want to create a service that's different to other people. I don't want to be this difference. I want to create it for other people, not just myself. And I really like that from that point of view, is you're creating a point of difference in yourself, but then casting it onto others. So that's really exciting.
And I think when we look at that, I remember talking about that with you, and yeah, it was all about be different, which is about, hey, look at my business, I want to be different.
Yeah.
But now you've gone to the aspect of, hey, I want to make other people look different and stand out through their social media and their videography, and your business has grown a lot exponentially in the last 6 months. And I think it's because you've now looking out for your clients more in that kind of way, and you've switched that perspective.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it.
Exactly where it's at for a service-based business.
Yeah.
You can't do it for you.
Yeah.
If you're doing it for you, get
And
the
you
fuck
know
out of the
exactly
service
that.
industry.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No, 100%. If you, and it's come up again in the podcast in the past, everyone we've had on has said, I'm genuinely doing this to help people out. I want to help my clients. You know, Emily, she was doing it because she wanted to help her clients become more confident within themselves. Nathan, he wants to be able to help people's yards look great, right? He doesn't do it because he wants his lawn to look great. Dion, he wants to help people buy their next place, you know, buy their next car, that sort of thing. He wants to help them move on in life. So, no, 100%. That's, if you're in the service industry and you're making it all about you, stop.
Legit. Yeah, absolutely.
I want to delve back a little bit more back into the detailing business, back into attentive detailing. This is a question I absolutely love to ask, because I'm just so curious around ideas on getting clients, right? Prospecting. I have had a massive session on it this morning, right? Letters, letterbox dropping, door knocking, calls, word of mouth. That's my job. That's basically my job. My job is basically finding the next sale. How did you get your clients?
And 50 plus retainers, that's a lot of clients.
Yeah. So for me, it's similar to real estate. It's super saturated. It's probably not as bad, but it's you know, there is thousands of agents, but yeah, there is probably 20, 30 other detailers in my area. But I find a lot of them, to be honest, they lack marketing skills, and I find that's what stops them. For me, getting my clients, it was all at the start. It was word of mouth, and it was getting my local neighbours and all that. But when it comes to now down the line, what do? I focus on Google. So for me, a lot of people advertise on Facebook and Instagram, but I find if you want to get a warm lead that's going to book you in, you got to go through Google, because when you're scrolling through Facebook, they're just scrolling. They see that sponsored and they're like, zoom, I'm off. But with Google, they're searching it up. Hey, I want to sell my house. Hey, I want to clean my car. Who can do it?
It's a lot warmer. Like
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
it's kind of like cold calling versus warm calling. If I'm calling someone I've never spoken to before, they've had no thoughts of real estate at all. They're like, no, I don't really.
Yeah,
talk
and I
to
think
you.
it's just finding what works and just dive into it. At the end of the day,
cool.
I find that because I've just found that Google works, and now I focus on that.
You get a lot of calls a day. How many calls and leads are you getting through a week naturally now just through Google?
I'd probably get 3 to 4 a day, and the thing is I'm not pushing it. It's all organic because that's what I've built up my reputation in the last year or so. I remember a year and a half ago I was looking at my business thinking how to get more clients, and I searched up local businesses near me, and the top guy that came up for a detailer had like 20 reviews, and he's been in the industry for 20 years. And I thought that was ridiculous. So I've really focused on getting reviews. So I even said to my clients, hey, I'll give you $10 off the next detail if you give me a review. And they said, sure. So now I've built up to over 50. So I wanted to get to about just over double. And now that I've built that baseline of reviews, Google's just put me in that spot now where I do consistently get those leads come through. So yeah, back to that point, it's just finding what worked, getting those warm leads and just kind of shooting for that goal. So I've never really focused on social medias. It's always just been Google at the moment, yeah. And I think print marketing, especially for car detailing these days, I remember I went to Raby Bay, which is the local wealthy area kind of near us where we live, and I handed out like 500 flyers, and I didn't get one response. And yeah, 500 is not a lot. Like I'm sure you hand out thousands, but I didn't get one. And I thought, I just spent 6 hours doing that and I didn't get one.
Yeah.
What? So I instantly from that day, I think, look, that's not the right path. Let's look for a different avenue. And I found, Google to be the best for me.
I think that's the thing with a lot of print media these days is you don't do print media to get clients instantly. You do that to build that reputation, to build that credibility. People start to know who you are. As a rule of thumb, it's like it takes 9 points of contact to become a household name. Where do you get those 9 points of contact from? Google, social media, right? I think for myself, it's all about having hands in everything. Doing a little bit of everything to get it out there, to become a household name.
Yeah, and I think you've hit the nail on the head there because you go into my house and you look on the fridge and there's probably three to five real estate agents sitting on the fridge. We've got their pens, and you
need to get rid of every single one of them except for mine
and replace them with Alex Tinknell's guest from episode. Just kidding.
No, Jordan's going to put some in my mailbox this afternoon. I'll send you my address.
Yeah.
And then I'll put them all over my fridge.
Sorry, I've got new calendars coming. I'll set one aside.
Good,
for you.
as you should. Give me 3. But as you said, I find with a real estate agent, when it comes to that marketing, you do need to be everywhere. Absolutely, and that's same with the big companies. They're absolutely everywhere. Billboards, online, they're sponsoring big bash events, they're sponsoring footy, all things like that. And that's, I think, what you need when it comes to real estate is you just want to be everywhere.
Yeah.
You're not, because at the end of the day, people aren't looking for houses and they're like, oh sweet, I got this in the mail, I'm going to sell straight away. They're not warm leads all the time, so you just want to build that relationship.
Yeah.
So I find that's a little bit different for real estate. You're just building that reputation, where for me, I'm just getting people that want now type of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people ring me up and say, can you clean my car today?
Yeah,
sorry, I can't do it today. I booked out 6 weeks, but I understand.
How much work are you losing due to that though? Because you're recommended number 1 now, and it's just you and your small little team, and you really can't take on too much more. Are you losing a lot of work per week now? Because we were at lunch the other day, and you were like, "Hey, this is Aaron from Attentive Auto Detailing. Oh, full detail, $650. Sorry, mate, booked out 6 weeks in advance. Oh, bye." You look at me and go, "Just lost $650. I'm like, "What?" I'm like, how much of that are you getting per week? Of just no one really talks about that. Hey, just losing work. How much are you losing?
Yeah, I don't like to talk about it. I don't like to talk about it because it's a lot, but that's something that I'm looking at. And I'm like, that's what I need to improve on. I've lost the emotion of losing money now. So when people ring me up, I remember you said to me, you're like, "Oh, what do you mean you just lost it? Like, are you going to get them back? Like, what are you going to do? And I was just like, like I'm to the point now where I'm so busy and I've missed out on so much work that it kind of is just emotionless for me now. But in the back of my head, I know that's what I'm working towards.
Exactly.
So me hiring, me getting a van, that is all delegating my work so that way I don't lose those clients. So at the moment, it's really frustrating, but there's nothing I can do to flick that switch and bam, now I can keep the work. It's just those slow steps moving forward to the point where all that work's mine. Yeah.
Right, there we go. I think that's a pretty good spot to finish up at.
Mm.
We'd normally ask the question, what advice would you give to someone looking to start a business at the end of the podcast? But Lockie asked that halfway through.
Sorry.
What advice would you give to someone who is currently in your position? This is probably a harder question because, right, this is advice you'd probably try and give yourself.
So yeah, we're more framing it towards what advice would I give myself?
Yeah. Like if there was someone in your position right now and you were looking from the outside in, what would you say to them?
I'd probably say just keep pushing what you're doing. You're doing it right. And a few people have said that to me, a lot of my mentors, just keep doing what you're doing it right, but make sure to try find that balance and try spend that time with loved ones. And do what you love as well, because it's not all about work. So yes, keep pushing, push your hardest, what you're doing's right, you've got the mindset, you've got the drive, but also take time for friends and family, yeah.
Love it. That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. Anyone looking to get your car detailed, hit up Aaron. Obviously, it's a 6 weeks wait, so just keep that in mind. Awesome. See you in the next episode.
Thanks, guys.